Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of NextGen Agoura Hills. Today is such an exciting episode. We're here at Lindero Canyon Middle School, right here in Agoura Hills, and we're sitting with 3 talented middle schoolers here at the school who are part of the social sciences program and have an interest in public service. And what better person to talk about public service with than our own state senator, Ben Allen, our very special guest today. So we're so excited to have this conversation, connecting our students to a state senator, talking about public service and making a difference in our community. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So there's quite a few of us here today. So I want to go around and introduce ourselves. How about I start with you?
Hi, I'm Ian McLeod. I'm an 8th grader here at Lindero Canyon Middle School.
Hi, I'm Taryn Liu. I'm an 8th grader at Lindero Canyon Middle School.
Hi, my name's Gaetano Barbado, and I'm also an 8th grader here.
I'm Ben Allen. I'm the state senator representing Agoura Hills in the 24th district, which goes all the way down to Palos Verdes and all the way out to Hollywood. So it's a lot of territory, but I'm really excited to be here with the students.
Thank you, Senator. And I want to start by letting everybody know you've had such a busy morning. You started your morning with the Chamber's Civic Leaders Breakfast, and then you came straight over here for this interview, so just want to thank you so much for your time.
I actually started the morning with my 11-month-old baby pawing at me in the bed. So, yeah. But you're right. Yeah. So, and then we're doing this, and then we're going off we're actually going to go, in a little bit, we're going to go tour the Calabasas landfill.
Oh, amazing.
Which, of course, is a big issue.
Yeah, big topic in our community for sure. So I wanted to ask you, how do you balance it all? I know you have an extremely busy job. So how's everything going? How's being a state senator going?
Well, it's a crazy job, especially when you have little kids, and I have to live in 2 cities because we're in session right now in the legislature, so I'm up in Sacramento all the time. So my life involves a lot of back and forth. I mean, even this week I went up on Monday, came back on Wednesday, back up there on Wednesday, and then back down yesterday. So it's just this. I know the flight schedules really well, but it's a challenging job. A lot of problems and a lot of headwinds, but it's also a really fascinating job. I mean, so many issues you get to work on. We were talking about your having worked for a legislator, and I got to say, one of the things I really like about it is that it's very meaningful. You can make a difference, and it's incredibly eclectic. It's very diverse work. Yeah. Every day I get to work on and learn about, just even today, right? I'm dealing with fire removal issues, education issues, the impacts of the tariffs on local business community, all the things that we're doing on the TV film tax credit to try to help keep Hollywood work here in the region. I mean, just the list goes on and on. And so it's fascinating, difficult, challenging, but really rewarding work.
Amazing. So, when you arrived here, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I walk on a campus, whether it be high school campus or middle school campus, I get kind of nostalgic, and it puts you in the shoes of the students, and you used to be there. So I wanted to ask you, before we go to our students, did you ever imagine yourself becoming a state senator when you were in middle school?
Yeah, it's funny. We walked in and we were talking about the time capsule that you guys are going to open. It turns out that time capsule was buried underground when I was, junior, senior in high school myself. So I thought, it gave me a certain sense of perspective. I always knew that I liked public affairs and I liked, issues of public policy. I just didn't know where that was going to take me. But yeah, I think there was a part of me that had a little dream that maybe I'd do this kind of thing. There's another part of me that thought this that I think was a little scared of doing something like this. Totally. And I still have that tension, I guess, in my heart. But I always knew I wanted to be involved and in a big way, and that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys have gotten to know a little bit more about the senator. We're going to get to know each other a little bit better throughout. But I wanted to ask you guys, as current middle schoolers, do you have that spark in you to kind of start a career in public service? I know you guys are part of the social sciences program here. Is that something that interests any of you? What does that look like in the future?
Well, I really like learning about history and all, and I don't think I can see myself in a public service office, though I do want to make a difference in the world, some way, and through STEM, because there's not a lot of women in STEM, and I've always been inspired by engineering, and so I want to make a difference in the world by helping the world out with through engineering or something like that.
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
I feel like I don't particularly see myself going in a public service office, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I feel like I do want to help the community out. Like I do multiple volunteering things over summer. I volunteer for soccer. I feel like I want to help the community out, and I don't know. I don't know where my career's going, but I would not be opposed to it.
You have time to figure it out.
I'm out of time.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in public affairs and everything that's going on in the world. I can definitely see different parts. It's interesting to see how different people think about different situations and see all sides. I've never really considered me being in a position relating to public affairs though.
Yeah. But I will say, one of the things we were talking about, there's running for office, but then there's all these other types of ways to get involved. Mm-hmm. Working for an elected official, working in the government in some form or another, working in government affairs, working as a volunteer, being on a board. There's so many different ways to get involved with the community that don't necessarily involve running for office. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, also taking on a leadership role within a career track. Yeah, I just encourage you to think expansively about what public service could look like for you.
Yeah, it looks different. Making a difference is such a broad subject.
Right.
And it can happen whether you're in public service, the private sector, in STEM, being a woman in STEM, just the amount of women that you will inspire in the future, that's a huge contribution to society. So that's amazing that you guys are already thinking about your futures. When it comes to, I'm assuming you guys all live in Agoura Hills?
Yeah.
What is something that you see in the community where you're like, I want to make a difference in that? Or something you've seen where you've thought about but kind of saw yourself as, oh, I'm a middle schooler. There's not much I can do about this, but I'm going to work on this maybe when I'm older. Is there something that you've seen out in the community where you've thought about, I want to make a difference here?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is I kind of want to help. The rec center, it's near the city hall.
Yeah.
That's one of the places where I volunteer. I volunteer there during summer.
That's awesome.
And I feel like I would love to get a job there and help them out over there. I feel like it's a really nice group of people, and I really like what they're doing there.
Amy Brink, you heard that. We have a future employee for you here. She's our director, so we can get you connected with her. That's great.
Well, I'm on the teen advisory board at the Agoura Hills Library, and I was thinking maybe get involved in the library and stuff since I've always also really liked reading since I was a kid, and I've always wanted to help little kids learn how to read because I have siblings and I used to read to them, and so I just found that really fun, and I want to make a difference by reading out loud to some kids because I feel nowadays kids are on their iPads too much, so and they're not reading that much, and that's gonna affect their education. So I think that if I can make a difference to the library and stuff like that.
Do you have a favorite book?
I like Percy Jackson a lot.
Oh, nice. Those are fun.
So this isn't that you may not even know about this, but there's a Target nearby, kind of the Target in Agoura Hills almost, and there's a way you can get there through a little passage. Because sometimes if you want to get from, to go over to the Target, you have to drive there, and it's a really long walk around. And the only other shortcut is really sketchy. So I think it would be important if we have more abilities to be able to walk places.
Yeah.
There's
So the
various
passage is the sketchy one? Yeah. The little passage?
Yeah, but
What's
also, there's stepping stones across in water, where all the water goes down to the lake.
Oh, okay. All right.
So... But also the making more bike lanes, because I remember that big road that goes through past the 7-Eleven, the big Guitar Center area. I remember there was some talk about putting barriers for bike lanes. Mm-hmm. I thought that would be really nice.
The city's trying to work on this, isn't it?
Yeah, we're working on a bicycle master plan. In Agoura Hills, so stay tuned on that.
Maybe we get them involved.
Yeah, totally.
Advisory committee. Yeah.
But that's great. I mean, that's a perfect example of going out into the community and seeing something where you see an opportunity to make a difference. This is something that you enjoy to do. You like to go to Target. I love to go to Target. I think we all like to go to Target. So to see something, recognize it as an opportunity, that's amazing. And that's totally, I think, connected to some of the work you do, Senator, where you are representing multiple cities and communities all the way from Santa Monica to here. And I'm sure you're hearing from constituents all the time about issues that are impacting them.
Yeah.
Specifically to Agoura Hills, is there anything that you're hearing that you and your team are working on that you'd like to share with the group?
Well, yeah, I mean, so for example, the city comes up and talks about all the work that they're doing, and we try to see if we can help them either financially or through some maybe a little tweak to the law, or make sure that they're in touch with all the permitting agencies, just to make these kinds of projects move more smoothly. So I mean, that's how I knew about the bike master plan for the city. So that's one little example. But as I say, certainly we're hearing a lot from people about the landfill.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I'm going to go down there and check it out and learn a little bit more about what's going on. I've been pushing a lot of the governmental powers that be to provide answers to the community about how that process has been going along. And quite frankly, some of it seems to be going smoothly, and yet there continue to be situations where individual truck drivers are not following all the procedures they're supposed to follow that are promised to us. So there's a kind of a follow-on work that has to happen there. But yeah, we're constantly, people are constantly reaching out to us on so many different issues. I mean, some of them very local in nature, but usually people will reach out if it's a matter of state policy. I mean, even this morning we were talking to people about reforms to the law that people want to see on lawsuits and on the way we structure our transportation system for the area. And so there's just this never-ending string of issues that come up. And so it's our job as a staff and as a legislator to take those concerns, hear them, and try to figure out a path, a way that we can be helpful.
Yeah, and I have to say, you and your team do such a great job in communicating the work that you're doing to the community. Are you guys on social media?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you follow your senators or your elected or your city. That's a plug. Follow City of Agoura Hills. But it's such a great way to stay connected. And Senator Allen, you've done such a great job on getting in front of the camera, taking the video, even during the fires in January. You were super active, just keeping the community informed. And in times of trouble and devastation, people are really looking to their elected officials for information, and you guys did such a great job. How do you guys stay connected? Is there any accounts you follow? I think you said earlier that you read the LA Times every morning. That's amazing.
I do.
Oh, you read the LA Times every morning.
Times.
I love it. That's amazing. That's not something you hear a lot. So how do you guys stay connected? Besides the LA Times, is there any accounts or other papers that you follow to stay in the know of news?
Well, sometimes I just scroll through like Apple News and stuff like that and look at some current events and things like that on there. And other times, like I ask my parents because they do the same thing. They follow accounts. They do stuff like that. They can tell me, and I can look it up afterwards too.
So you guys talk about things going on in the world?
Yeah. We constantly talk about like political issues, like what our opinions are on like policies and stuff like that.
My mom, she always watches KTLA, like ABC in the morning. I forget which one, but she switches around. I usually listen in on some of the news, and my dad, he's a really avid reader of the news. I think he reads The Economist, New York Times. I think he might read the LA Times as well. And so he sometimes talks to me about that, the stuff that's happening in the world.
What do you think about everything that you guys talk about? Is it overwhelming, being in
It's
middle
a bit
school?
overwhelming, like, hearing about the terrorists, like, in my opinion, it's a little unfair. Like, is it 120%? No. It's just, like, I'm just, like, really surprised. And it's sometimes unsettling to hear about, like, these news sometimes. That's what I'm, like, trying to say.
And for those watching, we're actually doing this interview in Lindero Middle School's Wellness Center. And I asked that question about how you guys feel because oftentimes with school and then everything else happening in the world, it can be kind of overwhelming. And there's a lot of support in the schools, which is phenomenal. I mean, since I've been in school, probably since the senator's been in school, I think there's a lot more emphasis on taking care of yourselves and your mental health. So how do you do that, Senator? And then I'll turn it over to the students on how they take care of their mental health.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge. I mean, I try to get some exercise. I play like a weekly soccer game. I try to get my family out on hikes, and take the stairs instead of the elevator when things like, so that's, I think, important. I think there's a mind-body aspect to all this that people have to consider. Get enough rest, make sure you're eating healthy. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the problems with the job is that there's so little time to really decompress. And when I come home, my wife said, "Okay, you've been gone, this week. Here's the baby." Right? So which is a wonderful thing too. And look, spending time with your kids is a decompression of sorts, but it's not full decompression. So it is a challenge, quite frankly. I think it's about just trying to take those little moments where you can get some rest, maybe a little moment on the airplane, or take a little moment to go off on a walk, or try to find a way to clear your mind, because it's an overwhelming schedule if you let it be overwhelming.
How about you guys? Any tips for students who might be watching this who need?
So for me, what I just do is usually every day I just play video games with my friends. We talk about life.
Way to do it.
we talk about life
While you're playing?
Yeah, while we're playing, just messing around, talking about life, just any problems we have, stuff like that. And we try to help each other.
Is there a certain thing that?
Since the Minecraft movie came out, we're playing Minecraft recently, but that's our thing.
I had 2 little siblings at home, so sometimes me and my brother would just sometimes talk about what happens in our day and stuff. And I also play sports. I play tennis 3 days a week for 6 hours. So in some ways it's kind of like a decompression for me, because I can let out all my stress and anger out into playing the game well.
I try not to let things bother me too much. If I see a missing assignment, I know everything's going to be fine. And if I see myself going down into a rabbit hole of negative thoughts, I can bring myself out of it. I've gotten better at that, and especially not letting things that has happened or anxiety build up or grief, and just kind of let it be.
Staying positive as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's a good perspective. So I kind of want to talk about leadership and what that means to all of you. And I'll start with Senator. What does leadership mean to you? Is that, I know it's a very broad definition, but when you think leadership, how would you define it as a state senator?
Gosh, there's so many aspects. I mean, I think you have to have compassion, be a good listener, be someone with some courage to make decisions that are sometimes difficult, but that are necessary. Strong sense of self. To the extent that you can, try to be inspiring. Inspire people to think beyond their own conditions and come together as a community.
For the middle schoolers, I try my best to encourage anyone in the younger generation that leadership doesn't necessarily mean a certain position or being in a boss or a political role, but it's the difference that you guys are making every single day. So what does leadership mean to you as a student here at Lindero Canyon? What are you kind of doing to represent leadership?
Leadership to me is helping out people who are struggling, helping out students who are struggling for an assignment. I try to help them find the answer. I'm a section leader for our orchestra. I help some of the other members in my section. I think leadership is about showing people the ropes, and I saw a quote. It's if to show you truly mastered something is to teach someone else.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
To me, being a good leader, it means being a role model to people and being open to suggestions. My mom, she's in a leadership position at her company, and she always says that you need to put your foot forward and you set the example. And so I'm trying to set a good example for my siblings and all my cousins, since I have a lot of younger cousins and they all look up to me. So I think maybe that I think that's actually helped me learn the qualities of a leader.
I think leadership, in my mind, is the glue that brings everything together, which is a bit of a mushy phrase. But so there's a lot of people assuming a leader or anyone in a leadership position should try to bring everyone else together, make sure everyone else in the working on the project or whatever understands what's going on. And because sometimes without it, it gets complicated. There's people don't know, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But to like as a utility to bring everything together into one to make sure it's all like you don't have to be necessarily good at whatever you're doing as a leader. You just have to be able to bring all of the people who are good at it together to make sure they can all cooperate correctly with no misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's an excellent answer. So I want to do something kind of fun here. You got to know a little bit about what the senator does. Senator, I think you were brought back to middle school talking to the students. So I'll start with the students. If you guys were a senator for a day, what would you do? What does that day look like? And then I'll bring it over to the senator. If you were back in middle school for a day, what does that day look like for you? So I'll start with you guys.
I would, a law I was thinking of that I think would be interesting would be like trying to hold like electric companies more accountable for stuff that happens with some of the fires. Because let's be honest, like fires are tough on this community. I mean, we had Woolsey a few years ago, we have Palisades, and some of them are started by electric companies. So I think they need to like help like prevent the fires and like make sure their infrastructure is up to date, because if it starts sparking on a windy day, like, it's gonna start a big fire.
Are you sure you don't want to run for office?
Um,
How about you guys?
I want to like put more money into education systems because schooling is important. It determines like if you get into like a good college or not, which like determines your life. And so I want every student to like have like, for example, like low income families. Like I feel like students who come from low income families, like they don't get like as much help as like kids who like come from like just like normal income families. And so I think like the school, like if I was senator for a day, like I would make like a law like giving more help to like low income families, like for example, like for like kids who come from low income families, like I'd give them like maybe like extra like free studying or something, like free help with homework, because like at home, like yeah, just education to me means a lot. And yeah,
I would imagine that a day as a senator, I wouldn't be able to do much. You know, laws aren't... Rome wasn't made in a day, laws aren't made in a day either. I would probably, you know, not to be rude, but like I said, there is kind of the utility that brings everything together. So I'd probably be learning about a lot of things to make sure that I would actually know why this is happening in the community and what problems could fix that. Because I'm not going to know everything. There's a lot of different problems that go on in a community and in a neighborhood. And I won't immediately know how to solve an electrical problem. I don't know how to do this. So I would want to learn as much as I can so that if any problems do come up, I know how to solve them.
Yeah.
I at least have some information on them. And if I don't, then I learn.
Yeah.
All right, Senator, we're bringing it back to middle school.
No, it's a great question. I mean, obviously, I would want... It's funny because the older you get, the further you get away from your school experience. And I would just want to immerse myself in what life's like for these guys. It's you know, some things will be pretty similar, and some things are very different. I mean, the impacts of social media and phones, and you know, talking about the kids being on iPads, I mean, that just wasn't a thing when I was little, right? And so so just getting a sense of what that life is like, how it's impacting the kids, and just the way I guess I'd be really focused on what aspects of life are similar and what aspects of life are different. And I would hope that would then help to, part of what you just said, right? It's about fact finding and information gathering. You know, for me, it would be a really good experience to then bring back to my current life, just better understanding what they're all going through.
Yeah.
Because I think that technology has really changed childhood in some ways that are good, in a lot of ways that are really problematic, and to get a better sense of that would be helpful for me in my work.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much. This is such a great conversation. I said it in the first episode too. I am just blown away by how intelligent and how passionate our students are here in Agoura Hills. You guys have such great things going for you. But you're not done yet. I want to wrap up with something fun here. So we're going to go through a couple of rapid fire questions, answer something in 1 or 2 words, starting with, what is your favorite social media trend right now?
I don't really go on TikTok and stuff like that. I'm not big on that.
Any other social media trends that you follow?
I don't really follow some.
You're an old soul. Okay, we're going to skip you.
I like this guy.
Reading the LA Times every morning.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I don't know. I like a lot of trends. I can't decide.
What's your favorite that you think off the top of your head?
Oh gosh. I don't remember. It's just I like so many and I can't decide.
Are you on TikTok?
Sometimes my mom should give me 1 minute on 3 apps combined.
1 minute. Wow, I love that. All right.
That's rapid fire right there. Anything your TikTok trends, social media?
I'm not on TikTok, thankfully, but I mean, there's some pretty funny trends. Most of the trends that I think of were not good, so I'd say one of the funniest trends to laugh at, not to do, was the NyQuil chicken trend.
Wait, I haven't heard about that. Okay, I need to search that up right after this.
Don't do it. That's why I say it's fun to laugh at.
Senator, you're on social media.
I mean, yeah, I am, but I'm such a different. The trends we follow are more like what's going on with tariff policy. That's a trend that I'm worried about. So I mean, for fun, I like watching some of the comedians clips.
Yeah.
There's always really funny guys funny guys, gals online. But I'm with you, man. I find it's such a rabbit hole, right? There've been a couple times where I've just gone in and you just an hour later, what have I spent the last hour doing?
Yeah.
I guess it's a little bit of a decompression, but I can figure out other ways of decompressing that are probably going to help me feel better about the world. So, but look, there's so much. I mean, for me, I think I'm looking at how people are communicating, how are people expressing themselves, how are people educating and teaching about or engaging people on interesting issues of the day. And I do think that there's the challenge, I think, for people who want to communicate better with the broader community is that it's easy to sort of see social media as this morass, and yet it's such an important vehicle for communication, and so we got to figure out ways to utilize it to up the conversation, to have intelligent conversations, because unfortunately, oftentimes it really lends itself to just slop.
Yeah.
And so one of the challenges I think for all of us in the elected politics as consumers, how do we elevate the quality of the conversation on social media?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm on the lookout for.
Making the most out of it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So my trend is,
elevating.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next rapid fire question. Your favorite part about Agoura Hills?
I like kind of the culture of it. Like, we have Raise Adobe Days every fall. It's just like, I feel like it feels like a community, like we have a group of like people who like actually have their city has like an identity, kind of like you feel like you go to some like other like areas around here, you don't feel like there's anything that is there. Like there are some very like Agora kind of things, like Raise Adobe Days. I think, we have an identity as a community.
Yeah.
I've lived in Agoura Hills my entire life, and I can't think of the best thing about it because there's so many good things about it.
Is there a favorite place you like to go to or a business?
I like the library a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of like, it's just like, it's like kind of where it's like where I got like my passion for reading from.
The neighborhood feels really safe. I like that. Like, I feel fine going out on a walk during nighttime, which I love doing because of the nice cold air. So I'm glad I don't have to feel like scared about going outside. I feel really comfortable about doing it. There's so many like dog walkers going around. It's a very comfortable neighborhood.
Yeah. Senator.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Race Adobe Day. It's such a great. I got a chance to go. So hot this year, though. Oh my gosh! The natural beauty of this place. I grew up hiking in the Santa Monica Mountains with my dad. It was a real bonding thing. We go up every weekend, and even the drive here today, the flowers are out, the beauty of the mountains, the greenery. It is such a beautiful place, and to have this kind of wonderful community vibe, safe place with good institutions, surrounded by such physical beauty. It's a nice place, and it's got a nice vibe, and I always love coming up here. It makes you. I represent a lot of the city, and it's a little more hectic and people racing around, and it's nice to come here and see a nice functional town with a great place to grow up and raise kids. It's a nice place.
Well, thank you guys so much again. This was a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything, but I had a great time talking to you guys. Senator, thank you so much again for your time and for coming out into the community. We always love having you here and seeing the difference that you're making and the difference that all of you are making and will make. You have a lot of years to make a lot of differences. So thank you guys so much, and until next time. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Great comments.
Awesome.
Thank you.